you have to commit 200%, just wide open.
If you don't make it to the top, your bike's gonna tomahawk down.
You start breaking things, and then your race is over.
I'm here for you, steadfast, kissed by a cold dawn. Here I lay down.
Some of the hill climbs are definitely super dangerous. There's massive drops, so you gotta nail your line, and honestly, the only way to get up it is 100% commitment. Like, it's either get up it or you're gonna lose a bunch of time, possibly wreck the bikes.
If you get 5 feet from the top, you're not pushing your bike here. Like, you're going back down. So you gotta clean every hill, that's for sure.
Trying to harness a 300 horsepower custom hill climber, you're hanging on by your fingertips, trying to pull yourself back up just to grab another handful.
These guys are on another level out here. They're definitely dudes that aren't scared to turn the throttle.
The Billings Motorcycle Club, the Hillclimbing Capital of the world. 2 disciplines merge for a 2-day battle to the top. The second rounds of the AMA IRC Motoclimb Super Series and the AMA IRC USHE Hard Enduro Series, presented by Inside Enduro.
Hill climb's like nothing else on this planet. You take street bike engines that are designed to go 150 miles an hour and take them up the gnarliest hills that you can find.
Going up a 30-foot wall, there's no other rush like it.
It's a split-second decision. Like, you know, you have 2 seconds to maybe decide, hey, I don't have enough speed to make it over this hill. I should probably back her off so I don't tumble my bike all the way down the hills.
With power-hungry Motoclimb athletes chomping at the bit to prove themselves on the mountain, the fastest time of the day will determine the champion at the South Hills Showdown.
My goals are always to win, you know? We're all competitors out there, and we all want to win and go fast.
A Montana downpour has saturated the bentonite clay, acting like glue. It cakes and clogs every part of the riders' bikes. It's going to take everything these athletes have to stay on the course, adding to the chaos of the day.
Everybody told me if it's gonna rain, it's gonna be like super hot to go up there. And it's raining all day. It's gonna rain tomorrow, it's gonna rain on Sunday. Yeah.
Now that it's raining here, I think it kind of changed things. You're gonna have to ride different now.
Definitely gonna be a different game out there. We'll just have to see on Sunday how it goes.
Rivalries formed in round 1 are intensified as OG legends rejoin the roster for round 2, the Bentonite Brawl.
Can't do anything to your best ability by focusing on anybody else's abilities. So I just ride and do the best I can and send her.
In the middle of a race, I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff. I'm just, let's get to the top, get to the next one, and let's race to the finish.
We put in a lot of work, so I'm excited to put it to the test and see where we end up.
With the course drying out all morning, the Motoclimb Super Series starts off with the 450 class qualifier.
The format of the Motoclimb Super Series is 450 qualifying, which gives you your gate position or your bracket spot for the 450 main, which is all bracket racing from 32 people down to the final. And open is just 2 runs as fast as you can get up the hill, determines your position.
This is the second round, so we're really early in the season. So for me, I want to not let Logan Cipala get any more points ahead of me. I want to, you know, kind of make a statement and get that overall win, and hopefully get some buffer points behind me. Hillclimb's a mental game. You know, we travel all this way to do 2 runs on the big bike, so you're got to be mentally there, and it's really high pressure. So it's hard, but you know, this is why we're professionals, and this is what we do.
For this weekend's hill climb, I'm going to be riding my Gas MC 450 and my Bewley 1190 HCR. They're both pretty wild bikes and awesome fun going up the hill.
So behind me is a KTM 1290. It actually comes out of a street bike Super Duke. We picked up a complete bike that was wrecked, and the fairing was dumped. The guy crashed it on a track and fabricated that thing into a KTM frame.
Both Logans have a target on each other's backs for the top position.
We got the points lead for the season right now, so I just want to keep extending that points lead and build a little bit of a cushion.
Logan Cipala not only prepares for the Motoclimb Super Series, but also for Sunday's hard enduro event.
My goal is just to finish within 3 hours right now.
Austin Superfly Tyler took a risk on a new line to secure the top spot of the 450 qualifier with a 1.5 second lead. Next up is the open bike class with 32 riders competing for who can hold it wide open to the top for the fastest time. These half-street bike, half-dirt bike custom monsters attack the famous South Hills of the Billings Motorcycle Club.
There's a ton of pressure, especially when you're battling for points and positions, you know, making sure that you've got a good line picked out and just doing it as perfectly as you can.
You have a lot of weight, but you also have a lot of power, and man, they just kind of swallow everything up that you can throw at it.
Riding the Buell 1190 there's really not a whole lot to compare it to. It's just, you dump the clutch on it and it just pulls, like you're hanging on for all you got. The best feeling going up the hills is that they just never stop pulling.
These Motoclimb athletes put everything on the line for the chance for the win.
Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know
It's a pretty amazing feeling when you're able to look at a hill that almost looks impossible from the steepness from the bottom, and before you know it, as soon as you crack the throttle one more time, you're literally jumping over the rest of the hill off of like 30 feet.
Logan Cipala, the defending champion, sends it to the top with a 3/4 second lead on his Buell 1190. Cipala wins both the 450 and open bike classes, an undisputed performance that earns him a perfect overall victory. Logan Mead takes second and Tyler Cardwell third.
Do I really need to introduce myself? You don't know who I am? I'm looking forward to the prologue. It's gonna be in front of the crowd, under the lights, and it's gonna be head-to-head, straight up the hill, block each other off, try to pull off the quicker start and get up the hill faster and roost the other guy. So it's in your face, it's head-to-head, and it's right up my alley, so I'm looking forward to it.
You put a bunch of young kids on the line head-to-head and a little bit of money on the line, there's definitely gonna be some battles and people really going for it and trying to get that last podium spot.
We're doing a head-to-head bracket kind of hill climb race, which is going to determine our row setup for the main event. And you don't want to be on row 2 because you're automatically at a disadvantage by a minute or 30 seconds, whatever it is. So you got to do good on Saturday to be on row 1 for Sunday, and then it's a 50-kilometer, 30-mile, one lap. Basically, it's going to be a sprint, I think.
As the night progresses, the hard enduro athletes are paired up for the head-to-head prologue.
The head-to-head racing for the prologue is something unique that we've never seen before, so it's going to add another element to this hard enduro world.
Just the format of it, like head-to-head for qualifier, like it's going to be different, 2-on-2. Start out over that K-row, I think, so that'll be interesting. Just
straight up a pretty steep hill, it looks like. So it'll be fun to watch too, it'll be fun to do it.
Drop, see me coming, run away, cause they know that.
Now, final battle of the night. Our round one champion, Tristan Hart, takes on the veteran, Colton Haker, in the top spot.
This is a great race right here, guys. Legend.
Tristan's win will guarantee him the best starting spot for Sunday's race. The pressure builds as looming rainstorms threaten the race. Will the riders outrace the rain, or will it turn into a muddy disaster?
Coming off the win at round one mentality, nothing's really changed for me, honestly. I still got to come here and I got to put my best foot forward and try and get 100% out of myself. And if I do that, hopefully I'll land on the podium and maybe at the top step again.
For me, I always just try to go out there and honestly get out front and then try to lead the race and stay ahead of everybody.
A bunch of young kids that are hungry for sure, and they're all going to be coming for me after round one, I'd say. So it's going to be important for me to try and keep them behind me.
Just gotta look at it like any other race, just go into it with the same mindset and just get to the finish first.
Tristan takes the whole shot with Colton hot on his heels.
Okay, Tristan off the lead. LeBlanc and Haker close behind. Can't wait to see how this goes.
Next up is the second wave of the pros, already at a 10-second disadvantage. Cooper Abbott fights neck and neck with Brandon Petrie for the whole shot. With each successive wave, more riders pile into the Enduro Cross course.
Haker's on the move. Here goes Tristan, already breaking out. Come on, Haker, let's go.
The top riders send it over the K-rail and enter into the Bentonite Hills, an obstacle that will later bottleneck the amateur class.
You gotta push hard enough to be in that league group, but not push too hard where you make a mistake and lose them right away. Because once you're like in that group and you guys can break ahead a little bit, that's when you can start pushing, try to get ahead of who you want to be.
Haker's going after Tristan like he wants it bad. All these guys are super close. This race is gonna be the great equalizer. Look at these guys bunching up. Too risky, boys. Cooper Abbott, McCarthy, Logan Cipala, the hill climber. He wants a piece of the action.
The leaders battle for positions as the course pushes deeper into this rugged Montana terrain. As Cooper makes a quick pass on Danny Lewis, Tristan and Colton battle at the front.
Tristan Hart in the lead, Haker still in a close second, Ryder LeBlanc in third, the legend Garfunkel in fourth, Keith Curtis fifth, Cooper Abbott sixth. These guys are really close at this point. One. It's a short race, so it's super intense. A lot going on here. This little break while they get there, gives them a little break, catch a breath, and then get going again.
These guys are absolutely duking it out. This is a huge moment. These guys are absolutely going for it up this hill. And as you can see, it's taken a couple runs to get the hill broken in enough so that these guys can actually crest the top.
So for round 2, we have some new guys. We have Keith Curtis, who's a professional snowmobile hill climber. So on hill climbs, he's insane.
When it's done snowmobiling, I like getting the dirt biking out and just break it out and go riding, go racing.
Here goes Keith. This is a big one for him. If he can get this, it's going to put him in a good position. Nope, no cigar.
Pros continue to battle up these hills, taking 3, 4, or even 5 tries to get a clean run. Sometimes turning out is your only option.
Oh, he's getting a good run, but it's not going to be enough. We got Cooper out. Come on, buddy, let's go.
Reattempting these climbs will become second nature for these riders, often the only way to advance along the course.
And this isn't one of those hills that you can get almost there and then push the rest of the way. You have to make it all the way on the first try. This is an absolute hill fest right here. I'm not sure who that was. Oh, the bike's coming back down. The more guys that are stuck on the hill, the more difficult it is to get a good run to get up it. You have to find the perfect balance between patience and aggression on something like this.
Keith Curtis here. See what he's got. Yeah, Keith!
Boom, they're up the hill. Big bluffs, massive exposure, big hills, not a lot of room for error out here.
You're gonna come up on all these gullies and hill climbs and you gotta just react so quickly and be on it right away to be on your game.
Our top women's pros have made it up past Jarvis Point and continue to attack hill after hill.
Those are our 2 top women. We got Louise Forsley out front and Morgan Taney close behind.
Me and Louise were battling for a bit, and then once I made it up that hill, I was like, all right, it's go time. Game on, you need to catch up.
What Tanky's thinking right now is, I don't want to let Louise get away because she's the champ. If I can hold on to her, if I can follow her, see her lines, and improve on whatever she's doing, that's going to give me the best shot at a W.
The conditions deteriorate with more rain saturating the course, causing riders to constantly jockey for position. Tristan passes rider LeBlanc, but gets hung up in the mud. Setbacks like these are what cost you valuable time on the race course. Tristan, now behind Colton, waits for his opportunity, keying off the front rider. Part of today's challenge is fighting off the mental exhaustion as they lift and fight their bikes up muddy hill climbs. Despite this, Colton and Tristan joust back and forth for the top position. As Tristan approaches the pits, a big crash allows Colton to once again take the lead.
Holy If you can just get out in front and kind of get that gap where they can't see you anymore, then it's going to be a lot easier to maintain that gap. They don't want to key off of you as easily.
Rider LeBlanc is not far behind in third. Cooper Abbott continues to fight these nasty climbs despite a few setbacks.
So definitely got to get creative with line choices. I mean, there's going to be the main route up the mountain, but sometimes it's going to get rutted out and stuff. You're going to have to go left, right, and just be really selective with your line choices, but use the real estate.
Being able to reach range is going to be pretty important because you're going to be able to identify the best line possible right at the very beginning.
Amateur bottlenecks form as the once tacky climbs are now slick and full of mud. Racers must adapt to the changing conditions or get left behind.
If there's someone close behind you and you're battling someone in front of you, you obviously don't want to lose both those positions.
I got the leaders coming in. It looks like Haker's made the pass on Tristan Hart, the robot, for the lead. These two are going to drop into this coulee here and work their way up. Haker gets back out of the coulee. Tristan's close behind. No water pack for Tristan. The robot does not need water. Tristan seems to be okay with being in second right now. If he wanted to be out front, he'd be pushing the issue just a little bit more. Now he's looking to see if he can side hill or if he needs to clean this thing. Both of them are going to have to go back down. Tristan's going to push. Let's see what he does. He might bet on trying to side hill this thing. Tristan makes it up, but these guys are still dead even. These boys are playing a good old-fashioned game of cat and mouse. Oh boy!
The course is slick. Even media specialist Max Gerston ran into his fair share of trouble.
No, Tristan, I couldn't keep up that time. Tristan will be happy to know that the media guy crashed trying to follow him. That might be it for media guy here.
As the amateurs approach the culverts, the greasy mud and zero traction takes effect. They're resorting to helping each other up this once easy but now challenging obstacle.
All right, this is an absolute mess right here. This is the kind of carnage that hard enduro brings out. We have the sloppiest, most slippery mud you've ever seen right before perfectly smooth concrete culverts. This is the kind of recipe where you put your foot out to save yourself and your foot speeds up and you land on your ass. The wet soil and other elements are going to provide a super challenging course for these guys today. Unreal.
This is a brutal go, but these guys are teaming up and they're making it work.
2 hours into the race, our leaders are taking more and more risks as desperation sets in.
You know if you're going to make it before you get to that point. The times that you see guys just kind of launching their bikes and getting that out of control and cartwheeling it back down is because there's kind of a hope and a prayer left on trying to make it, but they probably weren't going to anyways. It's not going to be smart to get to a point on the hill and launch your bike. That's only going to set you back further.
As the leaders near the finish, Colton gets stuck in a mud hole while Tristan pulls ahead, a defining moment in this battle to the end.
It's like a super high pressure situation, and something about that I like. It's just like you have to get up it. That's all there is to it.
Working their way up this massive hill,
With only a few hills left before the checkered flag, Tristan attempts this daunting hill 9 times before finally pushing his bike over the top.
Every second that he spends on this hill, Colton Haker is going to be catching up to him little by little.
You gotta nail your line, and some people probably look at the hill and they might see the ledges and think, oh God, what happens if this happens? But I honestly, in the middle of a race, I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff. I'm just, let's get to the top, get to the next one, and let's race to the finish.
He's got a great run here. He makes it right off the first try.
is absolutely stoked. You can hear him revving the bike. At this point, it's back down for him and to the finish.
I honestly think this race was kind of built for me. I mean, I like hill climbing. That's one of my favorite things to do. When I'm out hill climbing on my bike, it doesn't even feel like a job.
These challenging hill climbs allow for last-minute position changes. Seasoned veteran Corey Graffunder jumps from 5th place to 2nd just by summiting first.
Wow, we have an absolute race to the finish here. These guys are sending it down one of the biggest hill climbs, willing to risk it all. Wow, good job, Cooper. Commitment is everything on these hills.
I'm a legend, that's what they call me. Cause I'm stronger than the million-man army.
Cooper passes Corey on the final hill in a tight battle for the coveted 2nd podium spot.
You don't wanna see the darker side of me. Cause this is war, this is rivalry. They're gonna write my name.
Cooper had some issues at the beginning of the race too and just kept on fighting.
Notorious, infamous, dangerous.
With only 11 riders out of a mighty 160 crossing the finish line, round 2 of the AMA US Hard Enduro Series truly demanded everything of these athletes. These riders persevered against the sheer vertical climbs and deep Montana coulees. It was pure hard enduro chaos.
Ride or die. I'm a wanted man.
Defending Pro Women's champion Louise Forsley crashes mid-race and injures her wrist, but still secures the win, sharing the podium with Morgan Tankey and Hallie Marks. Tristan wins back-to-back races, while Cooper has a career best finish in 2nd, and Corey finishes 3rd.
Notorious, infamous, dangerous. I'm a wanted man.